Alright, we are almost done our review of set 8, Reign of JAFAR, and these videos are going to get shorter and shorter as we've already reviewed all of the Dual Ink cards up to this point. So we're going to start with the Sapphire, review the Dual Ink Sapphire Steels, and then go on to the Steel, which will be a very quick video. But if you want to see the review, I will go back and cover some of them, but review of these Dual Inks, just go to where they first appeared. So the Amber Sapphire ones appeared in the Amber list first, the Amethyst Sapphire appeared in the Amethyst review first, and so on and so forth. So yeah, we reviewed all of these. Let's go ahead and start off with some of the mono blue and blue steel cards. So we're going off the Mouse Queen. This is a 4-cost inkable 3/6 that quests for 1. So nothing to really write home about here. Pretty generic. Probably made use for draft, not really for anything else. You got Sir Pellinor, a 3-cost 1/4. Whenever this character quests, your other characters gain support this turn, and it's an uncommon. Again, support is a very underwhelming ability right now. That's something to keep an eye on, though. I think that in the future, we'll probably see something that maybe compounds itself with support, just because of how bad support seems to be. Like, it's just not used at all, really. And what I mean by that is, let's say something comes out, like an item or a location, that says, you know, when your characters get support, they automatically get like +3/+3 or something, you know, like something like that. We could see some kind of modifier for the characters that have support, and that might make them a little bit more playable. Next up, we've got Anita Radcliffe, a 3-cost 3/3. So this is the blue generic 3/3/3. Let's see what we get as a result. When you play this character, you may give chosen puppy character resist +1 until the start of the next turn. Makes sense for Anita there. And a quest for 1. In the puppy deck, I don't even think you would play that. Just because as a 3/3/3, there's probably just better cards to play on 3. Moving on, we got a new 1-drop Olaf, a 2/1. When you play this character, chosen opposing character gets -1 strength this turn, and it quests for 1. This card is actually kind of interesting. I think that this card could see use. You know, as a 1-drop being a 2/1, sure, but later on in the game, or like turns 3, 4, 5, let's say, this ability could come into play. But again, the issue is when you pair blue with something, there's probably way better 1-drops that you're going to play anyways, because it's like Blurple, it's blue steel aggro, and it's red blue, and none of those would really want to play this over some of the other options that they have available. So while it looks like a decent card, it's just not going to be relevant, but it's not a bad card by any means. Next up, we've got the new Anna, a 3-cost 2/2 that quests for 2. When you play this character, if you have a character named Elsa in play, you may put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted. Again, for right now, you know, do we even have a 2-drop Elsa? I don't think so, although I could be wrong. Just not something that's going to be relevant right now. I mean, what's like, to make this card relevant, you're going to have a good 1-drop and a good 2-drop Elsa just to increase the consistency of proccing this on turn 3. And even then, there's better ramp right now. Like, the turn 2 ramp is just superior. So again, just underwhelming overall. Next up, we're on the deck build screen. I should be on the card screen. My mistake. There we go. We got Wasabi. Okay. 5-cost. I never saw this movie, but like, you know, Wasabi's the thing you eat with sushi, right? Anyways, 5-cost inkable 3/5 with support and a quest for 2. Again, just, I mean, blue got really good cards last set, so you can't really complain about them not getting much this set. All right, we got the shift target for Tomago here, Mechanical Engineer, 1/3 for 2. When you play a Floodborn character on this card, put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted. So what's interesting about this is we also have the hero from the last set. And as I look at these cards, I just see the stocks of that Baymax, the blue-green Baymax that can shift onto anything, just going up, up, and up. Because the Hero Hamada shift is actually not bad to shift on top of the set 7 Hero Hamada. That's in, it's probably easier if I just look at it and then try to explain it. So the one that's the set champ card, right? Holy cow, where is it? This one, but I'm looking for like the regular art. Well, I guess if I click this, it'll bring up all of them, right? Yeah, this one here. This one's actually not that bad. So you play Hero Hamada, you play that Tomago, you play this Hero Hamada, you play this Tomago, because this one's actually good. I reviewed this in the Emerald video. This one's actually pretty decent. Because you're an Emerald, you can also play Morph as a generic shift. And then you want to play this as well. Universal Shift 4. When you play this character, if you shift to play him, remove all damage, and he's a 2-quester 5/5 that shifts on anything for 4. So you can proc these abilities, the hero draws, and the Tomago will ramp you. And it's not too much of a far-fetched combo. So it's something that could be pieced together. An aggro or a tempo-oriented, right, you play on curve version of Sapphire Emerald, which would be cool to see. So yeah, this Tomago, if you're looking to build that in the future, is actually not bad. 2, 1, 3 also just, you know, generically okay stats. Like this is a 1-drop stat, but because of this ability, right? The only downside is, like, it would have been better as a 2/4 or something for 3, because then you could shift the Baymax on it. Like this has to drop on 2 and do nothing for turn 3 and then shift on 4. Of course, yeah, shift on 4 for this as well. So yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see this as a 3-cost inkable 2/4, which still is not great. I mean, it probably should be a 3/4 to have some viability, but then you can shift this pretty consistently, and shift the new Baymax. So interesting. Next up, we've got a new wardrobe, Perceptive Friend. Okay, 4-cost inkable 3/4 body. That quests for 1, but you can also exert, choose, and discard an item card to draw 2 cards. So this one is actually really interesting. It's funny because, like, if it was on play and to exert, it would basically be like a new Hiram. Because Hiram has to banish the item on the field, which is significantly better, right? Because obviously, like, they could have made this on play, and it probably would have given blue something to work with, right? Because obviously Hiram is like, you play Popsicle, you draw a card, you play Hiram, you draw 2 cards. So it's like not +3, but like you draw 3. But this one you have to discard the item, so you don't even get the value off of the item. Like, you don't get the value off the Popsicle. So it's significantly worse for that reason. I mean, you don't lose the tempo. I guess you can look at it that way as a trade-off. You don't lose the tempo of paying the 1 ink to play the item, but then you also lose synergy with something like Maurice's Workshop if you opt to play that, because obviously, you know, playing the item, you're discarding it to draw 2, but then you're probably not playing Workshop if you're playing this anyways. This is an interesting card. I don't think it sees play just simply for the fact that it has to exert. You know, in a non-Sapphire Coil / Ice Block / Big Sisu meta, this thing comes down, might survive, exerts, discards an item, draw 2. Again, if you're playing items, you want to play them. Yeah, it's probably too limited. I'm just trying to think. No matter what I mean, like, there is trade-offs, right? Like I just discussed. But no matter what I think of, I don't think it's the replacement draw engine that Sapphire needs. Could be wrong though on this one. You need to test it, but I just think because it's not on play, it's just too risky. Like, you're investing 4 ink. I mean, if you ramp and then play this out, but then you need to have the item in hand. You know what? Actually, this card might be worth exploring, because you can discard, like, it makes playing stuff like Lucky Dime less risky too. Like, you convert Lucky Dime into, like, if it's early in your hand, into a +2. Well, not +2, but a draw 2. So that's not bad. Again, Lucky Dime is a 1-up, so, like, you're not going to brick on it all that often. In the item deck, but then again, if it was on play, it would be so much better. Because you can play, like, a lot of the uninkable items that are very risky, and then you're like, I'm just not worried about it. I care about my turn 2 ramp to go into wardrobe. Like, you wouldn't play a ton of uninkable items, but you could afford to play uninkable items because you're like, I can discard them and draw cards, so they can, you know, turn bricks into actual cards to be used. It needed to be on play though. This card should have been on play. It probably should have been a rare. Man, they should have given this on play. Yeah. Then that would have fixed the Hiram ban. Would it have been too strong? Let me know. This card is very interesting. I like the design though. I will say that it does seem a little bit more balanced, but yeah, interesting. Mrs. Potts, another draw. Like, guys, what do you like? What is the point of printing these? 3 cost, 2/4, exert, banish one of your items, draw a card. So significantly worse than Hiram, not on play, way worse stats, only draw 1, has to exert, doesn't even quest, so you don't even get the lore. What are they doing with this, man? Like, just give us something usable for Sapphire. Again, it doesn't have to be as broken. I'm not really a Sapphire player myself, but, like, I didn't think that deck was a problem. Like, okay, I shouldn't say that because I'm gonna, you guys can blame me in the comments. Sure, the deck was a problem because it suppressed a lot of other decks, but like there was a meta to counter that deck. Don't get me wrong, I think the deck did have to go because look at how it opened up the meta. Like all these other decks became playable, but the deck wasn't unbeatable. Like I was beating it a lot online. I know a lot of other people were beating it a lot online. There were countermeasures being taken. The issue is you have a very small window of a meta. Like you have a couple of viable decks versus because of Sapphire dominating so much, the Sapphire Ruby, right? And Sapphire Steel, to be fair. So a lot of decks were made irrelevant that then became relevant after the Hierom and Fortisphere ban. But like still haven't given us a suitable replacement. In my opinion, like drawing cards isn't the issue. It's what you do with the drawn cards. So like they just have too many powerful tools, right? And that's the problem. Like you shouldn't be able to ramp into like early removal and then just start removing everything from there. But I don't know. That's a topic for a separate video. I shouldn't go on a rant here. This is supposed to be a short video. All right, we got a Jasmine Resourceful Infiltrator, a 1-cost 1/2. When you play this character, you may give another chosen character resist +1 until the start of your next turn. If it could give itself resist +1, it would be significantly better. But the fact that it can't, unfortunately, makes it very mediocre. Because as a 1-drop with the Jasmine name, Storyborn, Hero, Princess, like it has a lot of good things going for it. There's probably some good Jasmines coming out in the future, and some maybe not. Like they're not the best ones right now, but like this would be amazing if you could like drop it, give itself resist +1. So it could survive some 2 damage interactions on turn 1, 2, and then you can use it to shift later, right? So it can protect itself. But for that reason, I think it's again just these small little tweaks to make these cards like actually meta relevant versus like very risky to play. We got another 1-drop, a 1/2 Little Sister Responsible Rabbit here. When you play this character, you may remove up to 1 damage from chosen character and a quest for 1, so not relevant at all. Next up, yeah, I mean blue. Like I said, I got really good cards last set. We got Adelaide Bonfamille. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but a 2-cost generic 2/3 quest for 1, so nothing to see there. Nani, Heist Mastermind, a 4-cost rare 3/3. Let's see what this one does. Exert another chosen character gains resist +2 this turn. Okay, not bad, but I mean it would to exert and do that. Okay, another chosen. So again, you can't choose itself. Your character's name Lilo gains support. Okay, so not relevant again with the support stuff. Like support is so hard to actually make use of. It's just not great. All right, next up we've got Stitch Experiment 626. A 3-cost uninkable 3/3. So naughty. When you play this character, each opponent puts the top card of their deck into their inkwell face down and exerted. Quest for 2. At the start of your turn, if this card is in your discard, you may choose and discard a card that is inkable to play this character for free, and he enters play exerted. So similar to Lilo and Amber, you pay a cost. In this case, you discard an inkable card, and then you bring him out exerted, so you can't quest during your turn. But because you played him again, assuming you played him and he went to the discard, you're going to ramp your opponent every time he comes out. So if you play him from the discard, he's going to ramp your opponent again. So to me, this card straight off the bat, just not good. Unlike with Daisy Duck, where you can like make them draw the cards and then discard them with some of the steel cards, there's no real way to like blow up the ink except for like Ink Geyser, and you're probably not playing Ink Geyser in a deck that runs this because you're probably an aggro focused deck. It's way too risky, in my opinion, at least in the game state that we have right now, to ramp your opponent. Of course, if you can aggro them out, do a number of different things, it could be useful in an aggro deck, but like it comes into play exerted off the discard, so you can't even like ready it with Sven if you're playing like Amber Sapphire aggro and then quest with it, because Sven makes it so you can't basically use the card to exert it. So yeah, it's a really tough card for me to see being useful. In an aggro strategy, like you're going to ramp your opponent who's probably on a mid-range or control deck, and you're just going to give them ink, which right now is just not it. On 3, there are just better 2 questers you could play. Like, I understand the fact that this is an infinite resource, but you do have to discard, so you can't even just play ink. So whatever you draw, you have to, if you're in top deck mode, you have to hope you draw an inkable and then say like, oh yeah, I want to discard. Or actually, no, never mind, you can't, because at the start of your turn. So you don't even get to draw. you have to decide first before you draw, similar to Lilo. So just not a card that I see useful. Oh, my R&B and Bjorn made decks with it. I'm actually curious to see what these top players have cooked up. The Namari, only 2 of the Stitch. Yeah, so like an aggro focused deck, but I mean, I just don't see it. Am I missing something? I'm probably missing something as to how this deck works, but like, I just don't want to see this card. I just don't want to rent my opponent, but that's me. Geyser Stitch, yeah, like this, I mean, you load up their hand, you just hope to overrun them before they can make use of any of the extra ink and or cards you gave them back to their hand with Geyser. Like, I can understand that. Like, you're playing a very risky game, like, because again, you either get this plan off or you just get cooked, right? You've got 12 Floodborns for the Honey Lemon to bounce characters. Yeah, like this like, I mean, this robot, like I've picked up 8 extra foils and I sold 4 of them already. I have 4 left that I'm probably going to sell. Like, I just think this card is really underrated. The giant robot. These decks are so risky though, because if your game plan doesn't go off, like, you've given your opponent so many resources, that You're Welcome, the Ink Geyser, obviously the Stitch. It just seems kind of risky. Again, I'm sure it could work. It's just not my playstyle in particular. Let me know what you think though. On the contrary, this Ratigan, I do like. I've actually pre-ordered 2 at around $12. An 8-cost inkable 6/7 with ward, and it quests for 4. Time runs out at the end of your turn. If you didn't put any cards into your inkwell this turn, banish this character. So there are a couple ways to get around this, right? You can play like Greatstone Dragon to ensure that you can always ink from your discard. You could play Fishbone Quill to make sure you can ink your uninkables. You can just ink for turn, but you need cards in your hand, right? So where does this work? The issue with this card is that, like, at the 8-cost slot, are there just better things to play? Because this thing comes down and it doesn't actually do anything for you. Like, it's just going to sit there for an extra turn, right? Because, the good thing is that when it comes down, it's pretty well protected because of the ward. So your opponent's like non-targeting removal, or you're going to get 4 lore next turn. And then when you do turn it sideways, if you don't win the game, the opponent's just like, okay, now I have to deal with this thing. It has ward, so I can't target it with much. It's a 6/7. So whatever they throw into it's going to get taken out. They likely need to throw at least 2 things into it, unless they get some kind of strength boost somehow. It does trade with Shark, unfortunately. It doesn't have 8 willpower. I would have liked to see this have 8 to just not get completely blown out by Shark. But it is almost like a guaranteed 4 lore when it hits the board. And it's on 8, so it means you could do like Lucky Dime and then drop this. Better than Mufasa, in my opinion. Like, Mufasa does get you 2 cards back from your inkwell, which could be nice, but it's random, and Mufasa is uninkable. I don't know. I like this card, but it's hard to see where it fits in right now. Post rotation though, I think it may have a place, but we'll have to wait and see. It's not a bad card to pick up, but I do think it probably drops a bit once people realize like it's just not going to be played until after rotation. What is arguably the best blue card is it's a blue steel card in this new Arthur, a 4-cost inkable 6/6 that quests for 3, and it has a bad ability, like an ability that's a drawback to you because it's so overstated that you skip your turn's draw step. So as long as this is on the field, you're not drawing for your draw step. You can get this out on turn 3, right? By turn 2 ramp, turn 4 drop this. You've got a 6/6 that quests for 3, but then you're not going to draw. So what do you need to do instead? Beyond the Horizon, which you wouldn't really be able to sing together, because if you drop this on 3, you'd need a 1-drop, 2-drop, and then this would be your 4-drop to total 7 singer. But then you're turning this sideways to sing, and you're not actually questing with it or challenging with it. But you don't want you want to quest with this thing. So yeah, it's an interesting card. Obviously the big draw, no pun intended, is that it can shift Arthur on 5. But again, you're going to pay 4 to shift this, or to play this, and then you're going to pay 5 to lose this card to shift the big Arthur on top of it. On curve, not really the greatest, because you're going to give the big Arthur's ability, the shift Arthur's ability, to something that's small. So while it is a decent card, you just have to like find how it's going to work. I haven't tested this one yet, but it does look interesting. I'm doing a lot of yawning. It's late at night here. I got to go to sleep soon. All right. We got a 2-cost Inkable Bernard 2/2. That's a blue steel. When you play this character, if you have an allied character in play, you may draw a card. So, why 2-cost uninkable 2/2? Like, for blue steel, like drawing a card needs this many drawbacks. It has to be uninkable. It has to be evenly statted at 2/2/2. It couldn't be like a 2/3/2 or something, or 2/3. And it can't even quest for 2. It only quests for 1. It's not great. Like, I'm not playing a 2-cost uninkable card that does that when I have like Smees and Calhouns. Even post rotation, I don't think you play that. All right, next up you got Aladdin. I was really disappointed that there wasn't like some new good Ruby Aladdins, but I really wanted to make a Heroic Outlaw work in the first chapter before it's sent off on rotation. Maybe they reprint it, but probably not. Like, I just think we should have had a good, viable Ruby Aladdin to go off of. Anyways, we did get an Aladdin. It's in Sapphire Steel. It's a 6-cost Inkable Vigilant Guard, 1/9 with Bodyguard. Whenever one of your allied characters quests, you may remove up to 2 damage from this character. Again, just not going to be super competitively viable, even in Sapphire Steel. Like, you'd rather just play Chenpo at that point, like a 4/7. That's 1 cost cheaper. You don't need the ability to heal, a conditional ability to heal, and at least Chenpo can trade out with targets, whereas this thing won't as a 1/9. And this thing is susceptible to like small Sisu, big Sisu, Brawl, etc. Medusa. Chenpo is what, 4/7, right? So it survives all of that. All right, next up you got Jasmine, Steady Strategist. It's super rare, 4-cost, beautiful artwork for the Enchanted, actually. So Viv Tanner, amazing job there with the Raja. Actually, we're gonna look at the Enchanted. Just so much, it's so nice. Yeah, 2/5, shift 2. So amazing to get this out on the 1-cost Jasmine. I talked about this on the reveal that if this was a 5-cost card, it would be significantly better, simply because it could sing the 5-cost Steel song and let it go in Sapphire. Whenever this character quests, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal an allied card and put that card into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. That's pretty good. That's card advantage whenever it quests. It is only a 2/5, so again, susceptible to a lot of the Ruby removal. Doesn't clap back too hard when challenged. But the goal is that you get, maybe +2 off of this. Well, you use up the shift and the card itself, so you go kind of negative to get it out, and then hopefully you can claw back the advantage. The allies you can get off of it could be pretty good, but that's just it. It's like you may hit, you may not. So you may quest with it and not hit anything, and then in that case, it's not great. A 4-cost coming down on 2, though, as a 2/5. If it was like a 4/5 or something, that would be like way better. But yeah, it's very limited. It looks like the Aladdin package will be relegated to just being casual for now. Next up, we got Rockafort. Okay, 2-cost Inkable 2/2, safekeeping ability. Whenever this character quests, you may put chosen item into its player's ink while face down and exerted. Quest for 1 and is an uncommon. Not anything too relevant, I can't imagine. Next up, we got a new Jumba Juk Iba, a 4-cost Inkable 1/6 that quests for 2. Is this a... No, the other one was in Emerald, right? I was like, is this a reprint? It makes no sense that this would be a reprint. But yeah, not relevant. Maybe in draft, but in this constructed format, not going to be anything super important. All right, next up we got a Geppetto, a 5-cost Inkable 4/4 that quests for 2. So, Lilo, crushing, whatever stats from Ruby. This one's a rare. Probably not an ability nearly as good. Whenever this character quests, you may choose and discard any number of item cards to gain 1 lore for each item card discarded this way. Not great in my opinion. Very telegraphed. If you're going to try to get this off, right, you drop it. Your opponent's like, okay, you're going to quest for 2 and maybe discard 2-3 items. Discarding items, not great. Negative card advantage. Items you probably want to play, like Popsicles, so I just can't see the use for this right now. Not great. One of the only good blue cards we got out of this set, in my opinion, Heads Held High. This card is actually kind of crazy. So it's a 6-cost inkable, which is great, you know, that it's inkable, and it's synced together. So you could sing it with like Grammatala Tipo. Remove up to 3 damage from any number of chosen characters, and then all opposing characters get -3 strength this turn. Why this is relevant is it gets around Ward. We'll see how relevant Ward is post-rotation, but you know, I definitely think that we are not going to see Amuses or Prince John reprint. There's just no way they can reprint those. But yeah, giving -3 to everything, non-targeting is pretty nice. Again, we'll have to see how effective Ward is overall, but this comes through, and then you know, because you sing it, you can then drop a big Sisu, wipe the board most likely. It's like a combo piece for Under the Sea as well. So you know, sing this, hard cast Under the Sea, or hard cast this, sing Under the Sea. You know, whatever works. You can combine it. You can combine it to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, Sapphire Ruby and Sapphire Emerald can make use of this card. The remove 3 damage, again, removing damage not too relevant right now, but it could come into play, especially in the Ruby variant, where you can heal up sharks. The issue is this card still remains a little conditional, right? It's like I have to... You don't even care about the remove 3 damage, but maybe you proc that. You care about the -3, and then it's like, do I... Like, you know, I think that's enough to say I can combo this with Big Sisu. Like I play 4 Big Sisu, I play... you know, 2 or 3, probably just 2 of this, 1 or 2 of this, and then, you know, I have this in the back pocket to clear a board. It's a pseudo. It really does turn Sisu into a pseudo Be Prepared, more or less. Obviously, it doesn't hit like opposing sharks. It would make shark 4, not 2, where it could be wiped by the big Sisu. But you know, it's not a bad card to get around a lot of the annoying, basically 3 and 4 strength characters that a lot of these other decks play. Next up, you got Pouncing Practice. Chosen character gets -2 this turn. Chosen character of yours gains Evasive this turn. A 2-cost action, you know, for not being a song or anything, I think we should have been able to also draw off of this. Because if you're going to hard cast this, it's significantly worse. Like, you're forced to hard cast it, right? Giving chosen character of yours Evasive isn't really good. Giving -2 is okay. If it was a song, it would be significantly better. Then I don't think you would need a redraw. But because it's an action, like, you're going to play this on turn 10, where you can give -2, give Evasive, and then drop a big Sisu. It's like, no, you're not going to play this, right? In Sapphire. I mean, potentially, but I mean, I just don't see it. Like, giving your big Sisu Evasive to crash into opposing sharks, but like, how relevant, how much is that going to really come up? Probably not at all. I don't know why I'm yawning so much, but we've got Down in New Orleans. This is another great card coming out in Sapphire, similar to, it's even better than the other one. The other one's just rare, this one's a super. This is uninkable, but it's also 6 cost. It is not a sync together, so your one character will have to sing this. And you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, you may reveal a character, item, or location with cost 6 or less, and play it for free. So this one is quite interesting because it doesn't seem to fit into the action-oriented Ruby Sapphire deck, right? Like the DKP list, because you have a lot of actions. You actually run the risk of maybe not hitting anything that you could trigger with this. Basically, you know, if it's pretty likely that you're going to hard cast this, because even if you have stuff like 6 Tamatoa, Maui Shark, etc. on board, you probably want to use those cards for their abilities. Unless Maui Shark can only quest and can't do anything else, then you would exert to sing, which, you know, is actually an interesting interaction because your opponent might be like, I'm not turning anything sideways in the face of a shark, and you're like, okay, well, I'll take the turn off to sing this, gain a lore, put something into play for free, right? So scry 3, and you're likely playing something that's less than 6. Best case scenario I can see right now, just off the top of my head, is you hit a Tamatoa Happy as a Clam off of this, you put it into play, right? So you're able to scry through your deck for a Tamatoa. It's just as good as if you had one in your hand, right? And then you get back some items. The scry 3 is relevant because it can give you options. You pick up 3 cards. There could be 3 cards there that you're like, okay, all of these are great options, but which one do I need in the moment? You know, I don't want to say it's a +3 to your hand because it's not, but it gives you a little bit of versatility. So no matter what, when you play this, you should be able to hit off of it. And if you hit something, let's say McDuck Manor or something that's like a 4 cost or whatever, you're like, well, you know, the extra 2 cost that I paid as a tempo loss was the cost of the versatility that I was offered from this card, right? So, you know, let's say you top deck this, you're like, okay, that's actually not a bad top deck because I can look at the top 3 and then pick and choose which card I want to play from there versus top decking a card that would just be dead. The issue with this card, uninkable of course, is like Visions of the Future just seems more efficient. It's inkable, look at the top 5, take 1, so I don't get to play for free. This one seems to be a little bit more of a risk. Still a great card, but like it's a 6 cost uninkable that I likely will not sing. And it's great to put a card into play, but like I may miss off of it. I may hit like, you know, a couple of really low cost stuff. I may hit like a Tipo, a Popsicle, and I don't know, like a small Sisu or a big Sisu, so I can't even or a Be Prepared, so I can't even play it with this. If you reveal an action or a song, like you can't even play it because it has to be a character, item, or location. So basically, you're like, okay, I paid 6 to play a Popsicle or to play a Tipo that I'm not gonna use the ability for. So I don't think it sees play directly, but it's not a bad card. It's just too risky for the cost. Next up, you got Television Set, a 3 cost inkable item. You exert, pay 1, look at the top card of your deck. If it's a puppy character card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. Otherwise, put it on the bottom of your deck. Okay, so pay 1 ink and exert the item, and you get some card advantage, hopefully. But of course, it can still miss. So similar to things like the King and Queen Sensor Core, which I was a big fan of. This one, you know, for a puppy deck, I would say it could work. Yeah. I mean, it really depends on like your critical mass of puppies, because you're probably gonna like, is the Perdita and stuff, like they're not puppies, right? Yeah, like you have to play the smaller puppies, which at this point is only going to be like at most 40-50% of your deck, probably, I would say. At least with Queen and King Sensor Core, like you maybe have 10 to 12 cards that aren't like those characteristics for those cards to proc. So you literally have like an 80-ish% chance to hit off of it every time. So yeah, this one 6 is worse. Obviously puppies are worse, but like I think it's just hard to justify even playing that. I mean, it only costs 1, but the time it takes to develop this and start paying the cost for it and everything, like to make like puppies are already not competitively viable. Just make it not cost anything, right? Just make it free. Like I might get a free puppy in my hand. Like, sure. Wow, we really got through this without spending a lot of time on any particular card, because yeah, there's not really much in Sapphire this go around. We've got Belle's favorite book. This one is actually interesting for me. It's a 3 cost uninkable item. You exert it, so you don't have to pay anything. You banish one of your other items, put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down, and exert it. So this one's a little awkward because it does cost 3 and it is uninkable. But immediately what I think about with this is, hey, this is a card that can banish my items that I want to have banished. So I can put them in my discard. Things that wouldn't get banished normally. The issue is, again, this costs 3. Where am I finding the time to play this in a fast-paced game? I'm not, right? So while it is nice, and it does ramp you, it's just like you take a turn off to play that, and then you have to have all the items in rotation, not in rotation, but like ready to go, so that you can get the extra ink here. But it just seems not the greatest, I guess. All right, next up we got Atlantean Crystal. This is the last card, a rare 2 cost inkable item. Exert and pay 2. Chosen character gains resist +2 and support until the end of until the start of your next turn. I don't think it's it. Like, you can't make this card free because like it's too good for Sapphire if that's the case. Like resist +2 is great. Support, is half decent because at least if you quest with the card, it's also resisted as it's vulnerable and exerted. But to pay 2, again, this card being a 2 cost inkable, is a stark contrast to the Bell's Book, which is a 3-cost uninkable. So like this card cost-wise could be good, but it's way too expensive, and the ability just isn't that impactful, I wouldn't think. Although you could argue that like in decks that just dump their whole hand onto the board, you know, protecting your board characters like in aggro strategies could be a thing. And this does work with that because it can also give support to the card you want to quest with, make it have resist so it's protected as it quests. And then, you know, the support transfers over to another smaller character that you have, and that character can now trade up. Whereas aggro decks traditionally have a lot of trouble trading up. But yeah, not something I would say is super interesting. That's going to do it for the Sapphire. Pretty short and sweet. Well, they got a lot of enchanteds. Obviously, the main winners are the dual inks. We've already talked about some of these. The Tomago is pretty good. This Into the Unknown, I think, is going to be big for Blurple. Like, Blurple already looking pretty good, but it's going to get even better, I think. Same with this Ice Spikes. I think this card is really underrated right now. You know, some people were calling Ice Blocks bad, and we saw what it did prior to, not bad, but like, you know, not good, not going to be played prior to Sapphire Coil coming out. Obviously, Sapphire Coil is better, although even like, you know, some Ice Blocks were coming into play when the hero was still around, just because you may run out of cards that you don't, you know, or like you don't want to ink to proc the Sapphire Coil every turn, whereas Ice Block was a free exert. I think Ice Spikes might be overlooked in that same vein. You know, exerting a character is a very powerful thing. The only thing I will say is, like, in Blurple, ideally you want to be the aggressor, right? So you don't really want to be like, oh, I have to tap your stuff down and like play this control game. Blurple is just like, I want to gain back my advantage on the draw by ramping, maybe ramping twice and getting ahead, and then outdraw you while developing a board. So like genies and things like that, play finders keepers, I can take a turn off sometimes and just draw 3, and then just run with the game, right? I'll take out stuff as I need to, but this card offers you some safety, Ice Spikes, but at the cost of how fast you want to go with Blurple, right? So it's a decent card. I just don't know if most Blurple decks will actually play it. Tempo-oriented, control-oriented versions probably will, you know, but for me, I'm a player that approaches things like I can win on the draw pretty consistently, right? For pretty much most matchups. That's not the problem. The problem is winning on the... Sorry, I'm sorry, that is wrong. I can win most games on the play. That's not a problem. When I go first, I can win most games. Where I need help, where everybody needs help, is when we're on the draw. When we're on the draw, what cards can help swing tempo back into our favor? It's cards like this. Cards that will come out of nowhere unexpectedly, mess up your opponent's game plan. They were planning to do some kind of combo play. You know, they're setting up for something. You exert their character, and you blow them out. Think about like Ursula, Deceiver of All on turn 3, into Prince John on turn 3, into Double Stinks Sudden Chill, right? Still a combo that's around to this day. Can't wait for that to rotate out. But if on, I guess it would have to be like on 1, on 2. You wouldn't even play this on 2, because if they go first and they develop the Ursula, they pass it back to you. You have to have a 2-quester or a 2-drop character, a 1 or a 2-drop character on board, that when you play the Ice Spikes and you exert their Ursula, that you can trade up into it. So maybe it's like, you know, a 1-drop Basil with support. Again, then you're getting like into a high roll combo. You need to see a 1-drop Basil with support into like a, you know, turn 2, maybe Tipo or something that you can boost up to a 3-2. Oh, I can't believe I forgot what Tipo's stats are. It's a 1-2, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Obviously not on curve. It's way better because you'll have developed board states hopefully that you can utilize this with. Being locked into Blurple, you know, you can't proc strong, you know, on challenge get this effect, which is usually in steel. But I do think this card is worth looking at to a certain degree. And yeah, the get out I think might be pretty decent. I don't really rate these Lumières. Yeah, no, it's too far-fetched. This Jeweled Collar I think might be pretty good for Emerald Sapphire as well, whenever one of your characters is challenged, you may put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted. That can ramp you pretty aggressively. And, you know, most likely your opponent's going to have to start challenging you at some point. So, you know, I mean, again, not trying to be high roll, but like you get this up with the Emerald Chromacon or something that bounces the characters when they're banished during your opponent's turn. That could be pretty good. But yeah, overall, just kind of underwhelming for Sapphire this set. But that's okay. Sapphire doesn't need much. It's already very good. But that's going to wrap it up for the Sapphire portion. Let me know what you think if you made it this far. Thank you again for watching. Quantum is out.